What can an adrenaline junkie whose obsession is getting in universal fights over the universe have to teach us about peace? Let's find out. Because if we don't, who will? Good morning, nerds. I am Nathan, your nerd pastor here at Checkpoint Church, and I'm so thankful that you have journeyed through another week of peace with us as we finish this second week of Advent. If this is your 10th video, thank you so much for keeping on with us. If this is your first video, thanks for clicking and finding out why Goku has to do with Advent. As always, we're going to start with our scripture. This time we're going to be coming from the very first book of the New Testament, the first gospel, Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40. We're going to be reading from the NRSV. That's just my preferred translation. It's what's going to be up on the screen. If you have a translation you prefer, feel free to. And the king will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these, who are the members of my family, you did it to me." Goku, or Son Goku, is the main protagonist from the Dragon Ball series across the whole doggone thing. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, I could keep going on. We get to see him as a kid into a teenager in Dragon Ball, and then he's an adult in Dragon Ball Z, Super, and GT. Well, kind of in GT. Throughout the whole journey of Dragon Ball, we get to see him as this clueless kid who saves Earth, who learns he's an alien, who saves other planets, who saves the universe to saving other universes, and the story goes on and on. Literally every time you think that Goku is about to reach a wall, Akira Toriyama finds a way to make him stronger and to make the stakes higher and to make more universes within universes. He just keeps on going. Here's the thing about Goku though, he's just a little bit slow. Or at least that's how it comes off. The truth of Goku is that he just plain old loves the thrill of the fight more than anything. Every time Goku is presented with another bigger baddie, he doesn't dread it. He just accepts the challenge and gets excited and steps up to it. And Goku always does step up to the challenge, even if he's technically dead. So the question is, why does Goku do this? There's a good amount of theories and reasons presented by Goku and the Z fighters and fans all alike. Sometimes Goku fights because it's just fun. Sometimes Goku wants to push himself into that next level. Sometimes Goku has to protect the people that he loves. Sometimes he even resurrects pure evil in the form of pure good just to take him on again. However, I think there is one reason that stands above all the others as to why Goku always steps up, and coincidentally, why he will always be stronger than Vegeta, his closest rival. In the Dragon Ball Z movie Wrath of the Dragon, the Z fighters have reached a challenge too great for them, as always. By the way, this is a great movie and explains the lore behind one of the coolest items in Dragon Ball Z history, Trunks' sword, so go ahead and watch it. Anyway, an evil group of wizards back a long time ago awakened this literal giant destructive monster named Harudagarn, which destroys a bunch of planets. Without getting too much into the weeds here, just know that it messes with the wrong planet, and Tapion ends up sealing Harudagarn alongside himself inside of an enchanted music box. Moving to the present day, and we have Gohan and Videl, who are superheroes in their city, and while they're out saving one day, they accidentally kind of get tricked into letting Harudagarn out, or at least half of Harudagarn. It's very strange. Through a series of frustrating events, even at the best attempts of Tapion, the great mighty hero who has this cool sword, the monster somehow gets completed with his other half of his body and is completely reawakened, and he begins to just trounce the Z-Fighters one by one by one, as always. Even Super Saiyan 3 Goku can only sort of take him on, but winds up just being worn down. So as things start to build and tension keeps going, everyone is prepared to give up, and Tapion is convinced he's going to sacrifice himself. But here comes Goku. He finds another bout of energy, and he gives us this legendary quote that sums all of this up in one fell swoop. "If I don't, who will?" Goku then keeps fighting long enough to learn the secret of how to defeat Harudagarn, and yay, he saves the day like always. Go Goku! Aside from the predictability of Dragon Ball storytelling, this gets to exactly why Goku does what he does. This whole idea of "if I don't, who will" is Goku's way of saying that he sees it as his responsibility to save the day. Because if he doesn't, then who else is going to? It's not even an option in Goku's mind that there are others even involved, because it isn't their responsibility in his mind, and it certainly isn't his responsibility to make it their responsibility. So Goku just naturally bears the burden for the sake of the burden itself. A word we could tie to this is expectation. Goku has absolutely no expectation of anyone else. He only expects of himself. Goku understands that his actions and his choices are exactly that, his. He is the only one who can control himself, so if he doesn't, then truly, who will? Now on to our scripture. This comes from Matthew 25, which is a very well-known parable of Jesus known as the sheep and the goats. Basically, it's Judgment Day, and all of these sheep and goats are standing in front of Jesus, waiting to be judged, and Jesus divides them into sheep and into goats. And he looks at the sheep and he says, hey, whenever I was naked, whenever I was hungry, whenever I was thirsty, whenever I was poor, whenever I was in prison, you did good by me. You did all the right things for me. Then he looks at the goats and he's like, whenever I was sick, whenever I was naked, whenever I was in prison, whenever I was hungry, whenever I was thirsty, you didn't do right by me. The sheep say, well, we never saw you, Jesus. We just did these things. And the goats say, well, we never saw you, Jesus, or else we would have done these things. The real emphasis here is on expectation and what they did. Now, this story really can relate to quite a few things, such as intentionality and purpose and hospitality and selflessness. But as it relates to this devotional, the sheep realize, just like Goku does, that the expectation is only on their shoulders. Even when Jesus, as the parabolic judge, tells the sheep of their good deeds, they don't have any idea what Jesus is talking about. They were never doing it out of reward or out of expectation put on them by someone else. They were doing it because if they didn't do it, well, who would? The goats, on the other hand, have no idea what Jesus is talking about until Jesus rips away the mask and reveals that the last, least, and lost were actually him all along. Now, if I were forced to assume that these goats aren't psychopaths, then why didn't they help these people? The answer is obvious. They put their expectations on someone or something else. Aside from a brief dip into the existential doom being all Goku's fault in DBGT, which is really only sort of canonical, Goku always sets things back into order because he puts himself in the middle of the action with no concern for himself, knowing that he's the only one he can rely on. The reality of the peacemaker is that they are one who steps out and does simply because it's the right thing to do. Not because it's an expectation put on them by someone else or something else, but because they set that expectation for themselves. The truth of the matter is that neither sheep nor goats have any control over the others. And we also believe in free will, and that means that Jesus didn't have any control over the sheep's and the goat's decision. The only one that can make your decisions for you is, well, you. We've been gifted with the free will to make the right or wrong decision. So if you want to be more like Vegeta and just worry about Goku all the time, you're always going to be second best. But if you want to take the time and be more like Goku, only focus on you and what you're doing and what you're contributing, well, that's what a peacemaker really does. And that's why Goku will always be number one. It's not a good thing to be focused on yourself all the time, but in this way, you should focus on yourself. So what do I think you should take away from this video? I hope you'll just consider being a peacemaker. After all, if you don't, who will? Thank you so much for watching this week's videos and for joining in on these deep dives across the week of peace. We are so appreciative of you clicking on these and giving us your time. I really hope that you'll consider sticking with us and joining us on Monday as we're going to keep on trucking through with the week of joy. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to take it a step further, then if you're the praying type, there's a prayer in the description down below that I would encourage you to use. If you are the reading and journaling type, then we have a guidebook listed down below. There's some cool stuff. Even though we won't be putting out videos on Saturday and Sunday, we do put out a lengthy blog on Sunday and Sabbath ideas for Saturday that I highly recommend you download the guidebook and find out more about. And if you want to take the conversation any deeper, feel free to join our Discord community where we're talking and enjoying one another, and we can talk about these things even more. With that, let's put this gi in the tree. Right there below Piccolo, his best buddy. Everyone, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for tuning in this week. Like I said, I hope I will see you back here again, same time, same place, on Monday morning. Enjoy playing Cyberpunk this weekend, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until next time, bye-bye!